Yeah.
We're starting off happy, fired up.
You should be.
Welcome to the Ahlswede Collection. Oh, wait. Welcome to the AC Sports Podcast.
Part of the Ahlswede Collection.
Brought to you by the Ahlswede Collection
There we
Podcast
go.
Network. Follow us everywhere at AC Sports Podcast on YouTube. My name's Eric Ahlswede.
I'm Ross Field.
Good to see you, Ross.
You too, dude. Congrats on the big win this weekend.
It was so insane the next day when I realized that I get to watch the team again.
Yeah, that's a cool feeling.
I've never had that feeling.
Yeah.
Well, 20 years, but wow, we get to play Saturday already?
Yeah.
So excited.
And got to climb the mountain known as the Detroit Lions on the road.
How's your week going?
Week's going good. Work's going well. Feel excited about 2025 and just accessing some of these tools that can help make work be more efficient.
Just like that sentence was very efficient.
I was a little choppy. But things like AI and just figuring out how to tap into it. It's a big time for transition, big time for technology, and there's a lot at our disposal right now. And if you can get on top of it and learn, it can really help.
Yeah, technology is always occurring. Huge technology. I mean, electricity is how old? Right, like these gigantic things are not that old.
Right. I see what you're saying.
And
shit's moving so fast.
True. The technology we're dealing with now, it's like exponential shit. But it makes me think of like I remember starting to see like websites on like corporate commercials in 1999. Like, oh, the internet's here now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, iPhone 07, Droid 09, and like around 2013, it's like, okay, everybody has Instagram in their pocket. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is the year of, okay, everybody is using AI.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It does feel bizarrely like it's going to be a really good year, despite how simultaneously bad certain things feel. It's great. Great time.
You want to allude to those things?
Maybe later.
Okay. Fair enough, dude.
So much to talk about. We had a wild card round. It was fun. Some people kind of shat on some of the wild card games.
Yeah. There wasn't very many close games, I think, was the big criticism, right?
And including Monday night.
Yeah.
My game's the only one that was exciting.
Right, it was.
Put it at the right time slot Sunday night.
They did. Good point.
Let's start off with how much money Sam Darnold lost.
Oh, boy.
2 weeks of hell.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him.
I do. Although O'Connell, coach, came out, presser, and said he was real proud of him, the way he played this season. Seemed to bode well for Sam's presence with the Vikings organization moving forward. However, you got to think that now the Vikings have some leverage when it comes to contract talks.
Never in a million years would McConnell like try to sabotage Darnold.
True.
But it kind of, I mean, Darnold was doing it to himself, I'm sure. But it was like, all right, let's just make this cut and dry. McCarthy's our guy next year. There's no question.
You think so?
I mean, because think about it. I mean, it would have been a messy offseason just in terms of the quarterback questions and stuff. I mean, that's the coach's job to handle that. But now there's zero question at all. They know exactly what they're doing moving forward. So in that sense, it kind of worked for them.
Yeah.
And with this rookie quarterback class, now we have McCarthy coming to this Vikings team next year. This is another rookie from this season. Just adds to the talent of this class.
So you're saying that they're going to go McCarthy?
There's no. I mean, they drafted him, what, number 8 or 9 or 10 or something like that?
Sure. I could see them doing a Packers move, though, where they have, took a high, pick on a quarterback and then let him sit for a couple years.
They do have Daniel Jones.
They do. They also have Daniel Jones, although we'll see what happens there. But
I'm pretty sure, because, I remember Harbaugh was hyping up McCarthy, before the draft, like he's the most NFL-ready quarterback. He was his coach, so biased. But he was slated to start this year, remember? Wasn't
he? Yeah.
Before he got hurt. So, that's no question. The question is, where does Darnold go?
Yeah. I would imagine, I think he's going to stay in Minnesota. I think they're going to work out a deal. But if Darnold's agent feels like Darnold deserves a ton of money, and they ask for maybe too much, and Minnesota's like, come on, we got McCarthy. Yeah. We saw what happened late in the season. We're just gonna go with JJ. I could see that happening. I think they're gonna work something out. I bet Darnold stays there.
I think the problem though is that they're not going to be able to offer him enough to be a likely backup. You can't give him more than $20 million a year, and he's going to get more than that elsewhere.
He might. Yeah, he may get a big offer.
He will. People will talk themselves into it for sure. Yeah. He won 14 games. Like, people will definitely. Yeah. I mean, to me, the Jets go back to New York.
Makes sense for New York?
100%.
Oh, wow. 100%. The fan base would eat him alive.
We don't know who the coach is going to be there.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. You know what's interesting about that is I remember watching the Packers-Vikings a few weeks ago, and it felt like every single time Darnold dropped back to pass, the Packers were like a centimeter away from bringing him down. And right when the defensive lineman had Darnold in their grasp, he would just flick it. And it seemed like the timing of all the routes was working out just in time for Darnold to release it. And I remember thinking, like, early on in that game, Green Bay's going to get to him eventually. They never really did. What happened the next game? Lions got early pressure on Darnold. He started sailing some passes. He was off rhythm. What happened against the Rams? They went nuts and got a ton of sacks. Totally threw him off his rhythm. Think about guys like Rodgers. When Rodgers has struggled in the postseason, what's it been because? Teams get pressure on him early, bring him down to the turf. He does not want any part of being sacked. And that's what happened with Darnold this postseason. It was wild.
Yeah, and if you don't, it's a tale of two quarterbacks. We have our clear running quarterbacks who are going to be at the top of the conversation now for the most part if they're good passers. And then there's, I guess, Burrow's the shining example of the guy who isn't necessarily a great runner. He can move fine. But they're working with a different playbook essentially. Yeah. Right? So it's a game of centimeters. So Darnold off a couple centimeters, then goes downhill fast. But
doesn't want to be sacked. Totally gets off his rhythm. He starts rushing things. Does not feel comfortable at all. And I'd be interested to see, how many games this year where he was sacked a lot, and if his numbers reflect a little bit poor of play.
It's just so weird that, the guy had 2 losses up until week 18. He was brilliant.
Yeah.
It's really that's a certain level of playoff loss for the Vikings right there.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're talking about these 5 seeds going on the road.
Yeah.
The Vikings should theoretically have a home game. I don't care if they're second place.
Yeah.
That changes things. We're going to get to that Stafford pass where it would have been 10-10.
Yeah.
The fumble. That wasn't a fumble.
It was
weird all around. It's weird that the Rams defense just suddenly show up and are great all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Our boy, who's the rookie that scored?
Jared Verse.
Yeah.
What a scheme they had to get some pressure on him. Technically, it was a road game for both teams.
Yeah.
There were a lot more Vikings in the crowd.
Yeah.
Vikings fans, I should clarify.
But you were correct about the McVay, Stafford. Stick with the guys who have been there and done it.
Man.
That was kind of my theory beginning of the season when I was thinking about quarterbacks. Also, C.J. Stroud, season.
Yeah.
And he wins. That's just, what?
Yeah.
Where did this come from? So now I'm re-looking at the Texans' schedule, like, they did beat the Bills. And most of their games were close, even though they just had this like point differential that was just like crap all year. But they played basically everybody close, no matter who it was. Titans so weird. It's true. You stick with the previous winners.
Yeah. Hopefully. Stroud's got 2 playoff victories under his belt.
Impressive.
And he's 2 seasons into his career.
Impressive.
Not bad.
Wait, I got a freaking.
Yeah, you get that. I see that mosquito buzzing. Come on, man. I don't need no West Nile.
Okay. We have some. You know what? Let's do Steelers, Broncos, Bills, Ravens first.
Okay.
Interesting. We're talking about defensive players of the year. Bad week.
Yeah.
T.J. Watt shut down. Broncos defense.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's more to say there, but defense didn't translate to the playoffs.
Yeah,
for these guys.
There's a couple highlights of Surtain trailing hard on a crosser over the middle, and he's like 10, 15 yards away from the wide receiver who catches it and kind of wiggles free, and you're thinking like, dang, what's going on there?
Really impressive. More impressive win by the Bills than I think we're giving them credit for, to just shut down, especially after the early touchdown by the Broncos.
Absolutely.
On that note, though, for the first time in 46 home games, Josh Allen is not favored at home. They started out as 1.5-point favorites. Now it's Ravens 1.5. How do you feel about that? What do you think is going to happen in this game?
Dude, what a juicy game!
What a game, dude!
Oh man, this is great. This might as well be for the Super Bowl. I think it just tells you how Vegas feels about the Ravens. I think they can run the ball. They're totally dynamic. Their defense has played much better in the second half of the season. I feel like they've got a little bit more star power. I think it's just a sign of, maybe Vegas getting behind Baltimore.
Yeah, I think there's Lamar's going to eventually do this. Like, this is his year type of thing.
Could be.
Because we thought that he should have been there the past few years. That said, I mean, now they're giving Josh Allen the Bills a...
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nobody believes in us?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible game.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
We have a lot of Commanders talk here. A lot of Commanders stuff to get to. First of all, I've probably never felt more respect toward a team than the Bucs. I've loved that team from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend who's a huge Bucs fan, but it had nothing to really do with that. It's just genuinely, it's Baker, it's the head coach, it's the guys, it's the way they play. So all the love in the world to them. I felt a little bad for him. Did you feel bad for Mike Evans screaming on the sideline?
Yeah. Well, the reason I feel bad for them is they had control and they totally shot themselves in the foot with just a really odd turnover on an end around where the timing was off and Baker fumbled. And that
kind of blew it.
Yeah, it's hard. I think the world fell in love a little bit more with Baker Mayfield this season.
100%.
With the way he plays, the passion he exudes, the leadership he has, some of the incredible plays he made.
Yeah.
And then to kind of see that happen when they get into the postseason is like, just reverting back to some of the mistakes that he sort of made early on in his career. Some of those tendencies that he'd seemed like he'd grown out of. There appeared to be some elements in the game where it was moving a little too fast for him, and the timing was a little off. Yeah. So it was interesting to see that. So I felt bad for them in that regard.
And they whooped the Eagles last year in the wild card round. So there goes our theory on playoff experience. I mean, the rookie beat the guy that had a win last year, that almost beat the Lions in the second round last year. So really tough team. Had an interesting regular season, so you could see they were vulnerable.
Yeah,
which is why I felt pretty decent about the win. But look, I'll say it a million times. The best quarterbacks are the ones that have the best mentality end of the day, because everybody has skill.
Yeah,
and that's what everyone's talking about with Jaden.
Showed a lot of poise on the road.
Man, I like doing a podcast because things are on the record.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have opinions or maybe make some predictions. They're going to miss, and they go by the wayside, so it's a little unfair because you don't get crap for that. You just get to focus on what you were right about. Yeah. But early on, I was looking at the schedule after we were 3-1, and we just had these huge wins against, I think, Arizona and someone else, where just, Jaden had his 86% completion percentage, and we just looked unreal. And I was looking at the schedule, I was like, this team's going to go 13-4.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, shut the fuck up. You're insane. I thought they were going to beat the Cowboys twice, I think, in my calculation. I knew they were going to beat the Eagles once. I gave the Steelers a loss. I was even thinking maybe 14-3, and those Cowboys-Steelers games were very close. But I could see it with this team early. And I've been a big Jaden MVP guy, and now suddenly... Oh, yeah, Jaden's definitely a top 5 guy. It's funny, you win one playoff game, and now the switch, the narrative.
Yeah.
becomes gigantic. So
yeah,
feels good to be validated.
Yeah, this is the one though. This is the one. I mean, he goes on the road and beats the Lions. He's gonna set the world on fire.
Yep.
If he goes on the road and loses to the Lions, people are gonna be like, great rookie season in a week, and he won't get probably the credit that he deserves. He should be higher in the MVP conversation. Right. He's totally transformed that team. Right. And they don't have as much talent around him as some of these other teams with the MVP candidates like Jackson or Goff. I mean, I'd say Allen does a lot of work for Buffalo, similar to Jaden. But, yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. It'd be incredible if they could shock the world this weekend.
So how does this happen? First of all, my first thought is like, well, what are the games where he kind of looked like shit? Saints game. We barely beat the Saints with like a couple backups by one at home. So, like, there's, the first Eagles game.
Yep.
There's, of course, the loss to the Cowboys. So he's not infallible.
No. And they had a Hail Mary victory in
right,
there.
Yeah. Now, that was a really low-scoring game. Yeah. So it's, it's not like – whereas, like, that's why the Vikings loss was so tragic to me because they didn't really have – like, they were just fucking crushing. I mean –
totally.
So –
smacked.
My first thought is like, okay, that could happen. He could try it out there. He's on top of the world right now. Everybody loves him. And it just couldn't work out. They could get crushed.
Yeah.
But then you think like if that doesn't happen, they're going to be in the game to win it.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like an either or. It feels like it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah. Detroit's scoring.
Here are the keys.
Okay. What are the keys?
Terry's going to have a big game.
Got to.
That's going to happen.
Has to.
Diami Brown
coming out party.
Best game of his career in a playoff game.
Yeah.
That can't be underlooked or overlooked.
Right.
He was drafted before Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know that.
Whoops.
And Amon-Ra famously like memorized all the receivers that went before him, and he's always like kind of talking about him. Yeah. So that's a cool little narrative there. Is Diami like? Did he make himself like a solid number 3 receiver for next season? I think he might have.
Yeah, I mean, he's got an opportunity if he builds off it. Hell of a job by Washington's offensive coordinator and the scheme to think like, okay, we're going to go a little bit away from Terry. They're probably going to do everything they can, Tampa, to shut Terry down.
Right.
They're probably going to do everything they can to minimize Ertz's impact. Who can we target to get, good matchups with? And they probably felt like Diami can handle whoever the Bucs DB was, the second or third guy on him.
Well, that's just, I mean, everyone in Washington, the whole conversation all year is like our receiving core isn't great and our offensive line isn't great. But now, like, Zacharias had his kind of coming out party in the second Eagles game. Now Diami, it's like, I think we kind of do have several weapons now.
Yeah.
Even a running back, Brian Robinson Jr. is taking a lot of crap in the Washington internet boards this week. They don't think he's cutting it as a starting running back.
I don't think he got very many opportunities.
Yeah, I think the criticism is like he's not very elusive.
Power runner.
Right, which I think is good. And the counter is that we just have not a pretty average to below average interior line, so it's not his fault.
Yeah.
To me, Austin Eckler is the X factor.
Yeah.
No matter what. He got injured a little bit early before we played the Ravens. Oh wait, was that Robinson? Anyways, when we didn't have those two guys for a few games early on, had some losses. Then Eckler gets crushed in the first Cowboys game. Doesn't play for a few weeks. We eke out some wins, but he adds so much to this offense. We saw that little dump off that barely got by the linebacker. That was a big play in the Bucs game. And I don't know. I mean, I think Eckler's the kind of guy where he could have 70 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns in the middle of the second quarter of this game. Yeah. And it changes everything. So.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about a guy who's been a lead back and perennially one of the better backs in the NFL, and is now like sort of relegated to a third down change of pace type back. That's
beautiful.
A beautiful piece to have on the roster.
And we technically have 3 kind of power backs back there. We got Rodriguez.
Rodriguez isn't bad. He's a good change of pace kind of guy
fans,
too.
They're kind of liking him better than B-Rob these days. We'll see. But to me, Eckler is the X factor. Some people might say Ertz is like, we need all 4 of those receivers to be available and catching some balls, but Eckler's the guy.
Yeah, you know what's funny about this conversation is back to Diami Brown and Zacchaeus. It's like, how many of those great teams that the Patriots had where their wide receivers weren't super well known, but they had a quarterback who knew how to get them the ball at the right time? So it's like a good quarterback will make somebody who's not perceived as a great wide receiver a great wide receiver. Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel like that's what Jaden's doing.
The difference between Brady and Jaden is that Brady was on the sidelines firing people up, cussing. Like that was his MO. Jaden doesn't say a fucking word. And if he makes any facial expression, it's a smile. Like to the opposing team, no matter what is going on in the game.
Yeah. Even getting a cheek cut up in the Bucks game, he was still very calm and composed.
Join him in solidarity.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting. Well, speaking of that, though, so perhaps as Jaden's career evolves, he'll become more of a vocal leader. As soon as the Packers lost the postseason, what does their coaching staff ask of Jordan Love moving forward? Big article about how they want Love to be more of a vocal leader. So perhaps it's just the career trajectory type thing. I wonder how vocal Brady was early on in his career.
That's a good point.
Maybe you got to kind of get acclimated to your team, your surroundings, settle into that role, and then go, okay.
Or maybe he can be like this his whole career, because there's a massive difference between being quiet and nervous, afraid, whatever, and being quiet and confident.
Yeah, he's confident.
His confidence is through the roof.
I don't sense that the moment's too big for him ever.
If anybody can get me to believe in God, it's Jaden Daniels. That guy, the way he leans on God, I'm like, I buy it, dude.
CJ Stroud's a lot like that too. Yeah. You know, a lot of his post-game interviews praising religion and stuff.
Great segue, Ross. Speaking of CJ Stroud, are these the best 8 quarterbacks in the NFL?
Oh, man. I was looking at that.
In terms of winners.
Yeah.
Because, we love Burrow. I know his defense sucked.
That's the guy I was thinking, he's the one that needs to be in this.
Of course. And then...
But it's close. It's really close.
Then we have Hurts. Hurts is... I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. CJ, it's just suddenly... It's just I've been bagging on CJ all year. And now he's like a top 10, top 8 guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
He gets it done. It's mentality.
He did. That was incredible. Incredible. The play where the snap got by him and he ran back and scooped it up and rolled out and calmly delivered a 30-yard ball to get a first down. Changed the whole dynamic of that game. And then he played really well from that point on. It was impressive.
It's the California cool, baby.
Yeah.
Jaden, CJ.
Yeah.
6 quarterbacks from California.
Wow. Great stat.
As of last week, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
I didn't recheck. So wait, let's go through this. So
California has some dogs.
So CJ Mahomes, there's 1. Jaden Goff, there's 2. Goff's from California.
Yeah. Marin Catholic.
What's another thing? We have Lamar Allen, so there's 1.
Allen's from California.
And then what's the other NFC game? Oh, Eagles and Rams, Texas, and so we have 4. So 50% of the quarterbacks are from California.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think we're good there. Well, actually, let's skip to this real quick.
Okay.
The wild card losers.
Okay.
What's the future for the wild card losers? We have Russ, we have Herbert, we have Nix, and who's the other NFC loser? Oh, Jordan Love.
Yeah.
So these are our losers.
Vikings, right?
Oh, we're the 6. We got Darnold. I don't know. I'm not in front of me. The losers we feel good about: Love, Herbert, Nix.
Yeah.
The losers we feel bad about: Russ, Darnold. Who's the other one we're missing?
Oh gosh, Baker.
Oh. Oof. We feel fine about Baker.
Yeah. I feel fine about a lot of those.
Okay.
I feel fine about Darnold too. I mean, I don't know. I think he's going to get a nice little payday.
Do we feel fine about
the season?
Do we really feel fine about Herbert?
Yeah.
Do we?
I mean,
again?
Yeah. It was a good year for them. I do. I think Harbaugh's going to have them continuing to move in the right direction. This is a good experience for this team. I feel good about him.
Okay. Zane Gonzalez.
Yeah. Interesting story.
He's got a hot girlfriend. Check out her TikTok. Or wife, rather. They like to drink tequila. Zane brought some OCD awareness to the world.
Yeah, he did. Everyone was like capping on him, thinking he's all like anxious and suffering from anxiety, and then you come to find out that he was just going through his tics.
The guy came through halfway through the season. Our kicker, so bad I don't remember the other guy's name, was doing fine and got hurt.
Austin Siebert.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Thank you. He was actually Zane's on the injury report this week. It doesn't seem like it's really much of an issue, but I don't know how awesome I feel with him as our kicker in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He got it done in Tampa, to be fair.
A doink.
I like his style. I like his flat, forward-facing style. I don't know. I hope that it doesn't come down.
Yeah.
It probably will.
You always don't want a kicker to decide the game.
If we're going to win the game, it's probably going to be on a last-second kick. So, I don't know. Let's go, Zane.
Let's go, Zane. He's got the world behind him rooting for him, though. That'll help. Positive energy.
Love hurts. Love hurts.
Yeah.
They both unimpressive. Jalen had 30 yards at the half. Saquon, obviously the MVP of the team.
I have a hard time going there.
Okay. I don't know.
They threw the ball 21 times. They ran the ball 34 times. To me, it was totally a game plan to run the ball,
sure,
be the tougher team, try and control the time of possession. Let's wear them down. Let's not put all of this on our passing game's shoulders. I think all Hurts was doing was executing a game plan.
You feel good, Stafford versus Hurts? You feel good about Hurts?
I do. Yeah.
Interesting.
I've felt good about Philly all year.
Yeah.
I think they're a very complete team. Let me say this to you. How many passes did Lamar throw in their domination of the Steelers?
I don't know.
21.
Okay.
How many times did they run it? 50.
Wow.
All they're doing is trying to control the line of scrimmage. That's what dictates victories of football games, is what's going on in the trenches. The Rams rolled up Minnesota because their defensive line dominated the game.
I think there's more detailed criticism of Hurts, though. Okay. It looks like he's like, I forget who said it this week, but like there's not a lot of crossing stuff.
Yeah.
A ton of deep balls. It's like just a lot of outs.
Yeah.
10-yard out. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I feel so good against Stafford.
Okay.
Especially with how Stafford looked this week. I think he's objectively the guy you want out of the two right now, head to head. That's a good omen for the Rams. What do you think? How do you feel about that game? What do you think is going to happen?
I like Philly.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. I think they're just a very complete team. And I think they're going to do what they can to bully the Rams around in the trenches. And they're going to try as hard as they can to just run the ball, 3-4 yards of play. Don't force it with Jalen.
Okay.
Don't do anything that turns the ball over. Don't try and throw the ball 30 yards downfield. We want A.J. Brown reading books on the sidelines, just not fully engaged, because we don't have to get him engaged to win. We want to, we just want to control the game, play at our pace, do our thing. We don't want to get in a shootout. We don't want to, we just want to handle our business and went all 3 phases. That's totally Sirianni's attitude too, is like, we're just going to run the ball down your throat and be more physical than you. Try to stop the tush push 15 times. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, McVay's got a brilliant coaching mind. We'll see what kind of scheme they come up with.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a brilliant game. And I did not feel that way 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
The beast has been released. I mean, you talked about teams kind of slowly building up. Rams are following that to a T.
Yeah.
And now they're here.
Yeah. No, you're so right. I don't want to take anything away from the Rams. I felt like going into the postseason, they were potentially a sleeper to make some noise because it's a team that has a lot of experience. They've won a Super Bowl. There's some players, especially the quarterback, who went through that, know what it takes. The coaching staff knows what it takes. McVay is a brilliant coach. So I do think they're going to give Philly a fight. I just feel a little bit better about Philly's chances.
Playing in Philadelphia is not easy either.
No. Yes.
Some of the most vile fans on earth.
Yes.
You see the guy that got banned for life because he's talking to the woman that way?
Crazy.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they're raucous in Philly.
That poor guy, that poor husband, it's like, on one hand, you would never let someone talk that way to your wife.
Yeah.
But you're just surrounded by, I don't know, I'd have to crash out and just see what happened. And, I mean, you can't let somebody talk to your wife like that. But at the same time, man. I'm not, like, mad at the dude. I mean, I actually respect how he handled it like an adult.
Agree.
And just they got the guy banned for life. So much smarter kind of reaction. Philly's not an easy place to play.
It's going to be cold.
Here's the thing. It just came to me. Come playoff time, we talk about that magic.
Yeah.
What team has that something that's pushing them? Okay. The Patriots kind of always found it.
Yeah.
But it happens every year. Washington, we know they've had the magic this season, pulling games out of their ass. The last second victory, Jaden doing Jaden things. But now, granted, Harbaugh and the Chargers, rough first game. Does L.A.
have the magic?
Have that city magic, the city that is coalesced like never before, emotion like never before in that city right now?
Yeah.
Is there a magic there? Are we going to see a Rams Commanders NFC Conference Championship, Washington going into L.A.? I'm going if that happens. That's the narrative for me.
Yeah, that would be a beautiful story, man. That's like a Disney script.
Seriously.
For real.
Those two guys going at it. So that's what I'm rooting for.
Cool. Well, good point. I mean, there's a lot of people that are, going to be pulling for the Rams around the world with what's going on down there with the fires. So, it's beautiful when you're playing for something else. That's for sure.
I think we're ready to move on. I guess the last thing, and we can talk about other coaches too. I mean, there's a lot of coach talk happening right now.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin's playoff record has been bad.
Yeah.
Over the past 10 years. And I'm talking they've been getting crushed.
Yeah. They play the same season every damn season.
So
shout out Barstool Big Cat for that one.
Everyone's talking about him moving.
No.
Yeah. So you don't think it happened?
I don't. Happen. I'd be shocked. I mean, it's despite the postseason struggles and the end of the year struggles in the regular season for them, they are always there.
Right.
And that is amazing.
Yeah, and the best comeback to that is they spent $3 million on quarterbacks this year.
Yeah.
They spent nothing on quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, I'm going to have my eye on that guy. I think run it with him next year, honestly.
It'll be interesting. What's going to happen with Russ?
Aaron Rodgers.
Is he riding off into the sunset like Rodgers?
So many questions at quarterback.
That's an interesting one.
Other coaching stuff real quick. Deion to Dallas is a big talk. They talking about Sarkisian, who's in Texas already, even though he kind of made some boneheaded calls against Ohio State.
He's a very respected coach, though, and rightfully so. Marcus Freeman getting some love, right? The Notre Dame head coach.
That guy
I would think about hiring him seriously. He looks like it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Just off first impression.
Agree.
Because I really just started to listen to him speak this week.
Yeah.
hire that guy in a second.
Yeah.
I think Chicago might be a hot spot for him. I mentioned Ben Johnson going to Chicago a couple weeks ago. That's not going to happen. It's in the same division. So
okay. Yeah, good point.
So we got Ben Johnson, and I like Freeman. I like those two as the big guys. Now McCarthy's fired, though.
Yeah. Where does he go? Expressing interest in the Chicago job. I don't know if Chicago will give it to him. But
do we want Mike McCarthy as a head coach anymore?
Oh, man. I mean, when I think about Mike McCarthy, I think about Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, I mean, he's done some things in the league.
I feel like McCarthy actually, the people I listen to have given him shit over the past decade as being an overrated coach.
Interesting.
And that Packers team with Aaron should have done better because of coaching.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't McCarthy, the other guy on the Jaguars, like
Peterson.
Let's move on.
Yeah. If I was a GM or if I was an owner and it came down to hiring Marcus Freeman or Mike McCarthy, I would definitely go with Coach Freeman from Notre Dame. I would definitely give him a shot with how articulate he is, how eloquent he is, the way he's kind of handling the media, what he says during the post-game pressers, how he's just fired up the Fighting Irish and they're in position to win a national title. I mean, come on, dude. This dude needs a shot.
It's been a long time since Notre Dame's been in this spot.
Yeah,
I believe they haven't been this good since I was a teenager. Back with Rocket.
Yeah, Remember Rocket Ishmael, no doubt. Who are other great college head coaches? Didn't one happen fairly recently to jump into the NFL somewhere and have some success?
I don't pay enough attention to college. I'm going to start.
It went reverse with Belichick getting the job at UNC. Fascinating.
So the Belichick to the Raiders thing makes so much sense since Brady's now co-owner. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people seem to think that he's going to suddenly back out of that North Carolina job and go to the NFL.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, why would he? I don't see that happening. Like, he would have known to kind of wait and that there would be opportunity.
Yeah. So
he took it because he wanted to be a college coach, I think. And I think it's because the way college has changed, it's a professional sport now.
Yeah.
So I think that's appealing to some NFL coaches now more so than before.
Great point.
It's a different kind of recruiting game.
Yeah, with the NIL too, there's way more money involved.
Plus, Belichick likes being around like 20-somethings. You know?
Zing.
Okay. Any other kind of thoughts from Wild Card weekend before we move on into the game specifically? Players. Oh, you mentioned AJ Brown. As an English major, one of the hardest disses to another team I've ever seen in my life. Just post up, fucking read a book on the sideline.
You know what's really cool about that is how much that book's taken off on Amazon.
Dude, like crazy.
So that's sick. That's kind of a cool little thing, you know, that AJ Brown did. You know, and that author of that book's got to be like, no way, thank you so much.
I'm thinking like that just opened up a whole world of marketing.
Right.
Just
right.
pop open a book on the sideline.
Yeah.
Check out Monday Lit on the Ahlswede Collection Instagram page. I read to you guys every Monday.
I feel like we got to tag AJ Brown in your next Monday Lit post.
100%. Well, look, as the AC evolves, okay, we're gonna get that Monday Lit segment to like, you know, pipes and silk robes and oak, fine mahogany.
That's right, dude. You're gonna blend Ron Burgundy with the Monday Lit.
In the spirit of AJ Brown, let me recommend a book for everyone. Okay, this is Crash by J.G. Ballard. Late 20th century British literature. It's about a group of people that crash their cars into one another and receive sexual gratification from it. I think it's a good metaphor for America today. Everyone just fucking crashing into one another recklessly. This country's out of control.
Crash was turned into a motion picture or a television show, I believe.
A movie.
A movie.
Do you know who directed it?
No, but it was someone famous, and there were a lot of famous actors in that movie.
Well, you might be thinking of the other Crash.
Okay.
So in like 97 or something, the movie off the book was made by David Cronenberg, a famous kind of gory director. Okay. But then there's the Academy Award winner Crash.
Yeah, that's
came out in like 2006. That's I don't know if that was like loosely based off of this.
Okay,
but it's not a direct adaptation.
All right.
There's the Monday Lit recommendation. You want to take a quick break?
Get lit or get gone.
Get lit or die trying. All right, let's take a quick break here. Be right back.